Here we are for the fourth time talking about an unannounced CC2 game, because CyberConnect 2's president just won't stop teasing us. Now, before we get into the meat of this video, I want to walk you through this most recent interview. He was answering a question about a dream project. Basically, what would you want to make with infinite time, infinite money, and an IP of your choice? He went on to explain that the hypothetical was impossible to answer because it's impossible to imagine such a project. But he then continued to tease the project he's already teased before. Specifically, he said, as for an IP I would want to work on, well, we haven't told anyone yet, but it's secretly underway. I'm sure it will be announced sometime in the near future, so please look forward to it. On face value, that might not seem like a lot of new information, but it is. Specifically, I'm sure it will be announced sometime in the near future is incredibly telling. Firstly, if the game is being announced in the quote-unquote near future, that means that the game is nearly ready to be shown to the world, in which case the game has been in development for quite a while now, which runs in opposition to my previous assumption, which was that this game started production very recently. I was always assuming that the game had to have started development recently because of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. They can't just develop two games at once, but it turns out that's exactly what they were doing. So a more accurate guess as to when the production started is probably 2018 or early 2019. With that in mind, I think we can safely eliminate Demon Slayer from the running, unless I'm missing something pretty huge that I do think would be too soon to start production on a Demon Slayer game. The only reason I considered Demon Slayer in the running previously is because I assumed that development recently started. We can also go back to previous interviews and kind of reevaluate prior statements now that we know that the game is being announced quote-unquote soon. Here's a statement from a question asking about Bleach. I'm a Bleach fan myself, but we have no plans to make a Bleach game right now. That's pretty clear-cut information that it's not happening. In another interview, send your requests to Bandai Namco if you would like us to make a Boruto game. I'll consider Boruto less likely because of this statement. Why would you send people to ask about a Boruto game if you're already making one? But I won't consider it entirely ruled out. We can also probably safely rule out Dragon Ball because of Kakarot. After all, it's being made by the same developer. We can safely rule out My Hero Academia because of Once Justice 2 being in the same genre of this mystery game. And I'll consider One Piece less likely, though not completely out of the running. Sure, One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 is happening, but this would be in a completely different genre of game. I still think it's points against One Piece, but doesn't disqualify it or deconfirm it. One Punch Man is also out of the running because of A Hero Nobody Knows and the fact that it's in the same genre of this mystery game, and I'm sure we could keep going down a list and eliminating more and more anime. I do have one question from the interviews that I've been deliberately avoiding up until this point. It's the JoJo question. The question was about a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure game on Nintendo Switch. In response, Hiroshi immediately reframes the question to something much closer to, I would like to make an HD port of JoJo All-Stars. Please send your request to Bandai Namco if you would like a Nintendo Switch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure game. I don't think this rules out JoJo's completely. In fact, I don't even think it comes close. If I was to read the question from this Twitter user, I think he was talking about a brand new game. I don't think he was trying to get a Nintendo Switch port. But Hiroshi reframes the question and kind of ignores the fact that we're talking about a new game here and instead asks about a port. So those are all of the series that come to mind initially for me, and from here I wanted to start doing some research. I started looking into tweets going back 2 years from various CC2 employees and I couldn't find anything, but it turns out that I didn't need to go that far at all. Yuan from CC2 recently teased something on his page. Yuan often posts the Q&A stuff that Hiroshi does on his own personal Twitter page, and last week when the question of the Storm 5 game got shut down, Twitter user Harvey Lotto asked specifically about a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure open world game. In response, the CC2 employee had this to say: personally, I don't think a JoJo open world game would be relevant or make much sense, but who knows, there might be more JoJo games in the future. Winky face. I'll be honest, that sounds pretty damn close to a confirmation for me. CC2 has practically exclusively made Naruto and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure games. A CC2 employee teasing a new JoJo game seems like it pretty clearly points towards JoJo's. So I think if you're betting money, I think JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is the most likely outcome of this CC2 game. If it wasn't a JoJo game, my bet would be Black Clover, or even something people seem to forget to mention, 7 Deadly Sins. I heard PS360 bring this up on Twitter, so I just want to address it and give you my take on it. Basically, he brought up that it could be an older anime instead of something kind of more relevant today, based on a question that Hiroshi answered. At first, I actually heavily agreed with him, but after rewatching the clip, I don't. The question asked to him was a pretty ridiculous hypothetical. I actually addressed it at the start of this video. But the reason it's a ridiculous hypothetical is because it creates kind of an unimaginable situation. The question is, if given unlimited time, budget, or workforce, and as well as any license that you want, what dream project would you make? He goes on to explain why the hypothetical is so difficult to imagine and explains some of the differences between working underneath a licensed IP and original work. He then reframes the question to, as far as an IP that I would want to work on, he no longer uses the word dream project there or dream at all. He then continues to explain that he already is working on an IP that he would like to work on. So he himself doesn't say the project he's working on right now is like a dream IP that he's always wanted to work on or something like that. In fact, he went out of his way to specifically reframe the question. With that said, I think I'm done here. I think the most likely pick is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. With that in mind, I actually tweeted this last night. I'm going to be giving JoJo's another shot. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I've watched part 1 and part 2. I didn't like either of them. And I finished part 3 and I liked it more, but I still wasn't in love. And I never tried part 4. Despite what I think of the storytelling of part 1, 2, and 3, the characters of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure are really, really cool. Like, they actually have incredible designs. So I'm going to give it another shot. I'm going to try part 4 out today, and we'll see how we go. Thank you so much for watching this video. My name has been Bilbzy, and I'll be sure to see you in the next one.